this series of lessons, tenses from beginner to advanced, we're going to learn everything about tenses in English. So let's begin. First of all, what are tenses and why do we need them? We need tenses to talk about the time, which is actually the past, the present, and the future. To show a change of time, we change a verb in a sentence. What is a verb, you may ask? A verb is a word in a sentence which describes an action. So, to go, to work, to watch, or to dance. Anything. Let's take a verb to learn and see how it changes in different tenses in English. Let's take the present one. So, for example, I learn English. I am learning English. I have learned English. I have been learning English. See? That's the difference. There are 12 tenses in English language, and today we are going to start with present simple in this series of lessons from beginner to advanced. So we are going to find out when to use it, how to change verbs and pronounce them, how to form positive and negative sentences and questions, and what are the time markers we can use with this tense. And get ready for a test at the end of the video. But don't worry, we're going to check it as well. So when do we use present simple? First of all, we use it to talk about things which are always true, like general facts, some rules, or laws of nature. For example, ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. Now that's true, right? Or each season lasts 3 months. Also true. Second, we use present simple to talk about permanent, or in other words, stable situations. What do I mean here? For instance, they don't live in Paris. Paris is not the city where they always live. Or Tom and Anne speak German, Spanish, and English. This is a permanent or stable situation for them. Moving on. Third, we need present simple to talk about repeated actions or habits. So we use this tense to talk about something we do every day, once a week, 3 times a year, or on Mondays. For example, my parents jog twice a week to keep fit. Now that's a repeated action. Or Jane doesn't clean her room on Saturdays. This is just not her habit. 4. We use present simple to talk about schedules and timetables also in the future. Let me give you an example for this one. So imagine it's 3 p.m. now, and I can say something like this. The movie doesn't start at 8 p.m. It starts at 9 p.m. So it's 3 p.m. now, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. is in the future for me, but I use present simple for that because that's a schedule. Another example. Her plane takes off at 6 p.m. Well, you have probably noticed that we have timetables at the airports. 5. We can as well use this tense to give or ask for instructions, tell stories, or comment. An example. At the roundabout, take the first exit. You can hear this if you have a satellite navigation in your car. When we tell stories, we use present simple for the actions which happen one after another. Let me give you an example. The doorbell rings and a tall, handsome man comes into a bar. So first you hear a doorbell and then you see a man. Now let me summarize it for you. We use present simple to talk about general facts, permanent situations, repeated actions, timetables, and for instructions, stories, or comments. You can see some hints on the left. I will also leave them for you on the slide with the test and hope that they will help you when it comes to it at the end of the video. So now, what about spelling? Have you noticed that some verbs in present simple end in s or es? I call it a he/she/it case. So basically, if the subject in your sentence is he, she, or it, you need to add s or es to your verb. Usually, we simply add s. I walk, he walks, they live, she lives. So we just add s. But sometimes we need to add es. When? When our verb ends in s, z, ch, sh, or x. In this case, we add es. So for example, I watch, he watches, they mix, it mixes. All right. Now I want you to watch out for the verbs which end in y. Why? Because you need to know which letter comes before y. And here you need to know the difference between vowels and consonants. There are 5 vowels in English: A, O, U, I, E. The rest of them are called consonants: B, C, D, F, G, etc. So if you have a vowel before y, in this case, no problem. This is a general rule. Simply add s. I play, he plays, for example, right? But if you have a consonant, your y changes into ies. I study, he studies. They fly, she flies. All right. Now you also need to know 3 exceptions. Do becomes does when it comes to he, she, it. Go, goes, and have, has. Now spelling is very important. Please keep this in mind, because this is where lots of learners make mistakes, especially when writing or speaking. Mind the pronunciation. There are 3 ways you can pronounce s and es endings: as, s, and z. That depends on the last consonant sound of your verb. Now I hope that you remember consonants. So as sound, we have after sounds like s, z, j, sh, sounds like this. So for example, fix, fixes. Try to pronounce it differently. Fix, fix. Doesn't really work like this, right? So it's logical. Fix, fixes. Change, changes. Not changes, not changes, changes. Okay. S sound we have after unvoiced consonant sounds like k, p, t, f, etc. So break, breaks. Sleep, sleeps. We do not say sleeps or sleepas. Sleep, sleeps. That's all very natural. And after voiced consonant sounds, we have z sound. For example, call, calls, right? Solve, solves. This is a definite z sound. Feel the difference and please try it yourself. Correct pronunciation helps us enhance our self-confidence when speaking with the natives, and it gives us better comprehension when it comes to listening. Believe me, it's worth practicing. When it comes to structure, in English language, we have a positive sentence, a negative sentence, a yes or no question, where your answer will be yes or no, and a WH question, where you will give more details depending on the question word. So their structure is like that. For a positive sentence, we should have a subject and a verb. Our subject can be a pronoun like I, you, we, they, he, she, it, or a noun: a sister, a university, coffee, achievements, etc. Our main verb is the verb which provides meaning in the sentence. So please remember about spelling in he, she, it case and pronunciation of these s or es endings. Examples: I work, she eats, we sleep, he watches. Now the examples that we had in the usage part. Ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius, right? So this is an example of a positive sentence, and also this is an example for our law of nature, right? My parents jog twice a week to keep fit. Another example of a positive sentence. This is also our repeated action. for a negative sentence, we need a subject, again, then an auxiliary verb, which is an additional verb that we use to make negative sentences and questions. For present simple, it's do or does, plus particle not, plus our main verb. Again, this is the verb which provides us with a meaning in our sentence. Okay, so as you can probably guess, do or does depends on the subject. If this is I, you, we, they, we use do. If it is he, she, it, we use does. Please remember that when we have does in the sentence, does or does not, it means that we do not add additional s or es to the main verb. Okay? Once per sentence. That's enough. Examples. I don't work. She doesn't eat. We don't sleep. He doesn't watch. What about the examples we had in the usage part? Okay, now for instance, the movie doesn't start at 8 p.m. It starts at 9 p.m. The movie doesn't start, that's a negative sentence, and this is also an example for our schedule or timetable. They don't live in Paris. Another example for a negative sentence, and this is also an example for a permanent situation. Now, when it comes to questions, yes or no questions, we start them with do or does, then goes the subject, and then our main verb. So if we want to make a WH question, we should put a WH word first. Examples. Do I work? Why do I work? Does she eat? When does she eat? Do we sleep? How do we sleep? Does he watch? What does he watch? Now I hope that it's easier for you with the structure. Time markers. There are several time expressions which can highlight present simple tense for us. These are every day, week, month, year, once a week, twice a year, on Thursdays, on Mondays, in the evenings. These are used to show the repeated actions or habits. Or all the time, for example, right? For permanent situations. Adverbs of frequency also point at present simple. You may hear words as always, usually, often, sometimes, seldom, rarely, never used in this tense. Time markers are not necessarily used in a sentence, so they can also be used in other tenses as well. It's nice to know them, but don't focus on them too much. Okay? And now that you know everything, it's time for a test. Please mind that there are positive sentences, negative sentences, and questions in the test. When doing the exercise, please try to think of the usage cases. Like, why do we have present simple in this or that case? Once you figure it out, it will be easier for you to grasp the tenses and to start using more of them correctly in your speech. Okay, now I suggest that you stop the video for the time that you need to do this test. You will see the correct answers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here are the correct answers. Helen doesn't make her bed every day. That's a repeated action or a habit. Rainbows appear after the rain. That's our law of nature. I don't go to the swimming pool on Thursdays. A repeated action or a habit. My grandma does the housework herself. A permanent situation or it can be a habit as well. James's plane arrives at 6 p.m. tomorrow. That's a schedule. When does the movie start? Again, we ask about a schedule. She has English lessons on Wednesdays. Repeated action or habit. Where do I sign? Here we ask for an instruction. Messi scores a goal. Now that's a comment. And the last one, a beautiful woman enters the conference room and attracts everyone's attention. Now that's a story. Well done! I hope that you enjoyed this lesson and nailed the test. I know it's not always easy to learn a new language, but in the end it turns out to be very rewarding, whether it is for work, travel, or to embrace a new culture. I'm happy to be here for you to make your language learning journey more efficient and joyful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you liked the video, don't forget to turn on notifications and to subscribe. See you in the next episodes.